What's going on, everybody? Psych Perspectives Geofvcks here. And damn, it's not on my head. Okay. And of course, it's not lit. Psych Perspectives Geofvcks here. And I just want to talk about something really quick. Well, not quick, but we need rent control. We need rent control. It makes absolutely no sense how, depending on location, city, state, location, rent is skyrocket. The cost of living is skyrocket. Yet our wages and salaries do not reflect the cost of living, doesn't reflect inflation, doesn't even take it into consideration. Now, what gets me is people be like, but you pay for quality, you pay for quality. Now, here we are living in a pandemic, a global pandemic. At any given moment, any one of us can die. Mind you, this was always the case and scenario, but now it's like literally at any moment, any of us can catch COVID-19, get sick. You might die, you might live, you might lose, have to have things amputated. We're finding out new things about corona every day and how it affects the human body. And some people are having brain aneurysms. Some people are having limbs amputated. Some people are, they're fine 3 weeks later and they're on their way back out and about. You just don't know, okay? There's so many things going on. So with the corona being an ongoing pandemic, a lot of these so-called you pay for quality and location matters, a lot of the perks and the amenities of these so-called locations no longer matter because they're closed. Nobody's benefiting from the college campuses. They're closed. Nobody's benefiting from the movie theaters and all these so-called perks and amenities because they're closed, or you can only have half capacity. It's just, they're not the same, so they don't hold the same weight anymore. And then really what coronavirus is really showing us is that everything has been an illusion. This shit is fake. These are truly social constructions that have value because the people of that society has placed value on that construction. When it no longer has a value to the people of that society, it loses its importance. It loses its value. So again, we, the people, have the power to change all of this and to improve each other's lives and livelihoods if we wanted to, right? But do you want to? Or do you want to continue to have the status quo? That's a real question. Let me know what you think in the comment box below. But we need rent control. What I don't understand is you need money to live. And in this country, because it's a capitalist country, you need money to live, and you live for the money. It seems like it's a really vicious, abusive, toxic cycle, very oppressive in nature. So you get a job. Because you need money to live in a capitalist society. Yet said job refuses to pay you a living wage, so you can make the money, so you can afford the rent. And then when you apply, this is happening to so many people, and I'm witnessing it. You apply to the place to rent, and they're doing credit card checks, background checks. They want your W-2s, your pay stubs, your license. And like I said, Social Security, they're pulling up everything on you, okay? They're doing a full background check. And people are often denied on various reasons for, they don't, for example, number one, you don't have enough income to afford the place, because a lot of places are straight up telling folks in the application process that your income needs to be 3 times the amount of the monthly rent, which again, most people are making less. And I'm just gonna be honest, the average American, like, when you really get down to the nitty gritty, is probably making less than $3,000 a month. And I'm saying $3,000 a month, and that's being very generous, because a lot of people are making less than $2,000 a month. But nobody wants to have that real conversation. And you gotta ask yourself, if you're making around $2,000 a month, that is $24,000 a year. Is that before or after taxes? Because if it's before taxes, then you're not making that. You're not going to actually get to take that. You're going to take less, because Uncle Sam is going to get his first. If it's $3,000 a year, okay, again, $3,000 a year, $3,000 a month, again, it's $36,000 for the year. Again, before or after taxes. So you got to make a certain amount of money to be eligible to apply. Number 2 reason why people get denied: if you have any repossessions, garnishing of checks, not paying credit card or bills on time, and delinquencies, guess what? You're probably going to be denied. Which brings into an even bigger issue. Not only is this an issue with finances and keeping people in debt, and this system is, like I said, is literally, the odds are stacked against us in this system. Not only do you have to worry about that being an issue, but this is also a humanitarian crisis, because you're literally denying people shelter. People can't have housing because they don't have enough money, even though they're working jobs. A lot of people are working 2 and 3 jobs with second and third side hustles and penny pinching and roommating and selling plasma and everything else to make ends meet. And they're still coming up short because people are not being paid living wages. And that's just it. You shouldn't need a second and third job in the first place. Your first job should be providing you a living wage. The whole point of having a job is to earn a living. Yet most of these jobs do not pay a living wage. I'm just going to throw it out there. Okay? Another thing that needs to be greatly discussed is just, why is rent, why are we paying $1,300, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 and up a month to stay? I mean, you would think that, when I think, and this is just me coming from Flint, Michigan, when I think of paying $1,000 and up a month for rent, I'm expecting a pool in the backyard, a white privacy fence, a fairly brand new house or an apartment or a condo or townhouse. I mean, this needs to be fairly built, brand new property, as in the last, I would say, at least 15 to 20 years, if not the last 5 to 10, because that's really ridiculous to me to be paying that much money. And then keep in mind, when you're renting, you're literally throwing money away because you don't own anything. So this money is literally going to somebody to chill and relax on. And because 9 times out of 10, the house has already been paid for. So all that landlord is doing is paying property taxes. And don't get me wrong, property taxes continue to increase, which is really weird when you see them increasing, even though you're not seeing amenities in the area increasing, because the whole point of property taxes is it's supposed to help keep the schools running and other things that we all supposedly like and benefit from, but yet in many places you'll see property taxes increasing, yet the amenities are not increasing, which doesn't make any sense at all, but okay. Property taxes, and you pay property taxes typically twice a year. You pay them in the summer and you pay them in the winter. So, like, for example, you like now they're sending out property taxes or getting ready to, and they'll be due in August or September. They might give you to October sometimes, and then they'll come back and gut your ass like a pig again in the wintertime, and you'll have to like February to pay them off. But say you have a house and your property taxes are like $4,000 a year, yet you're charging people $1,000 and up a month, but it's only costing you $4,000 for property taxes. You see the problem with rent, okay? People are literally, say if it's $1,000 a year that you're because you're charging $1,000 a month for your rental property, but it only costs you $4,000 a year in property taxes. So at this point, you just profited $8,000. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. We need rent control. People should not be able to do shit like that. I do not care how you try to twist and turn it. I don't. Because this is really ridiculous. You're pricing people out of homes. This is a humanitarian crisis. People don't have access to shelter because you have priced people out of it. Okay? People can't afford to live in homes. All right? And then getting deeper to the nitty gritty, we are not going to be able to have home ownership. And especially in the black and brown and people of color communities, lower working class, working poor communities, home ownership has always been a struggle because of racism and classism. Systemic oppression, is long lasting, generations deep, centuries later. Okay. You still see the ramifications of redlining. And let's be honest, it never stopped. I mean, there's no surprise when you look around at communities and you can still go into entire communities and it can still be all white in 2020. That's not by mistake. That's by design. Okay. This is why, for example, in Michigan, when you think about the places where there's black people and brown people and people of color, you think about Detroit, Flint, Pontiac, Saginaw, Benton Harbor, Lansing. I named 5 or 6 different cities, and granted, we are spread across the state, but realistically, the vast majority of us live in those cities or near those cities that I just named. Yet, for example, in my county, in Genesee County, where Flint, Michigan is, Flint is where predominantly most of the black and brown, people of color, working class, working poor people live. However, you got Grand Blanc, you got Flushing, you got Davison, you got Clio, you got Mount Morris, you got Swartz Creek, you got Burton, you got all these different places where mostly white people live. So I just wanted to throw out, you got all these suburbs that were put there by design, and notice you don't really see that many people of color in those communities. I wonder why. Also, notice that the rent changes when you move out of Flint and go into the suburbs in Genesee County. It increases. I wonder why. So again, you have the racism and then you have the classism. And both of them work together to oppress people. And then there's situations where, like I said, you're black and poor. You're woman and gay. You're Hispanic and disabled. So you can have multiple tools of oppression beating your ass. You can be a part of multiple disenfranchised, marginalized communities. So you never really know who's going to be beating your ass today, right? And it's really unfortunate, but that's what happens when you have an oppressive system like the one that we have in place in this society, in this world. It's not just in the USA. This is a global issue, okay? I'm just throwing it out there. We need rent control. And we need living wages. You know, what gets me is it's always about, well, y'all need to make better choices and decisions. Y'all need to save your money. Okay, how exactly are people supposed to save money when you're paying them pennies on the dollar? Which now, you know, in the USA, we have a coin change shortage. Everywhere you go, do you have 25 cents? Can you spare? Because we're literally running out of nickels and dimes and quarters and pennies. And you know, it's insane to witness all this happening. But literally, they're paying people pennies on the dollar, and they're telling you that you need to save, when after 2 weeks, for many people, after 2 weeks of work, most people in America are bringing home less than $1,000 after every 2 weeks. And you're expecting them to save money. Really. And you're also expecting them to pay bills on time, consistently. Really. Okay. You know, this is my whole point, right? And that's after 40 hours each week. So that's after 80 hours on average. Now keep in mind, most people work well over 40 hours a week. Thus, most people have well over 80 hours after 2 weeks. Okay? Because again, most people have a second, a third job, some type of side hustle, right? Or most people work a lot of overtime to try to either way it goes. Either you're working overtime, or you have a second or third job, or you have some type of side hustle. Either way it goes, we're all doing double and triple and quadruple the work, hella productive, not really getting much sleep or rest, and stressed out, and we're also not making money. It's really sad, right? You're not even making money. So it's like, yeah, you're working and 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 working, but you're still in the hole. So that's why I made a video a couple of months back called The Capitalist Hamster Wheel, because literally we're all on this hamster wheel spinning around and around and around and around and around, but we're never going anywhere. You're still inside of a cage in a hamster wheel, and you're the hamster, and you're still in that cage, and you're still going around and around and around and around. And it's like, we need rent control, and we need living wages. That's really what I'm trying to get past here. People deserve better qualities of life, and we really need to abolish these systems of oppression. I don't care if this makes me sound like a snowflake. I don't care if I'm being too idealistic, if I'm being too radical, if I sound left-leaning, if I sound, I don't care. I don't care if I sound like a socialist. I don't care. I'm tired of this shit. And you should be tired of this shit too.